What is up, everyone? Tournament Tactics is back for NFL week. What is it, week 12?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry for laughing, but Bobby is in a third hat. Yes. Yes. JMO versus Anthony Richardson last week. JMO edges it out half a point.
Yes. Yes, he did.
Let's go. I was sure I was putting the hat on for this one. I was sure of it. So happy. So happy to not be. Guys, it's NFL Week 12. We are beyond the halfway point. We have some crazy big spreads happening in these games. And I was just talking to Statsational as we were doing the game plan show. And like early in the season, these big spreads were all wrong. You remember when like teams were just winning, you know, as 12-point underdogs and destroying everybody in Survivor? I think it's not that anymore. I think we kind of know who these teams are. And so, yeah, and we saw last week with the big game, the massively favored Lions were the nuts play, like across the board, putting up 52, and everybody got touchdowns. So we'll have to address this week some of these big spread games to see if we can assume that the same type of thing is going to happen. Yes. So that's something we have to get into for this. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about is the big news that came out just before the show went live, which is Brock Purdy officially out this week. Now, that's why we had to wait the extra 2 minutes for everybody who was waiting, because I had to go and place a bet really quickly on the Packers, which I did at +3. I'm sorry, at -3. It is now -4. So even in these seconds, these precious seconds could not go to waste, as I can't be here for 2 hours talking. That thing's going to be -5. We're in. Burns is like, let me get it. We get it.
How much different is that game now? It's crazy.
I mean, that was the game of the week. Purdy is one of the chalkier names on the slate. I don't need legit at this second right now as we sit here, and I haven't looked it up. I don't know who the backup is for the 49ers. Is it
ugly?
Who is their backup?
I think it's Brandon Allen.
Man,
yeah, that sounds about right.
Who the fook is that guy?
It's either him or Dobbs, but yeah, I think it's Allen.
Oh, it could be Dobbs. I mean, like, seriously? Yeah, go get your bets in on J-Love and crew before it's too late, people. Chucksenhausen, got to throw it up there.
Oh, wow.
Little super chat action. I think Travis Kelce plays better with she wasn't there. Buffalo, no, they just didn't throw it to Kelce. It had nothing to do with anything. Only the other tight ends in that game shined for no good reason. So onward to week 12. And by the way, guys, we got a crazy week 13. It's Thanksgiving coming up. Kids are coming home from college. Triple game slate on Thursday next week. So we got a lot of good, exciting action here coming up in DFS world for the next few weeks. So, sit back, relax, and let's get into it here. Let's get into NFL Week 12, though, guys. Anything stand out on a game-by-game basis when you kind of look at the tiles here, Burns and Bobby? Are any of these games like, hey, this is the tide I need to target? Give me an overview of the slate for you. Burns, I'll start with you. Like, you've gone through the slate. Give me a bit of an overview. Is there a game that stands out? Are we going back to, the Lions in a dome, not their dome, different dome, kind of doing it against another bad defense? Are you liking these heavy spreads? Or are we looking at some of the close ones like that Seattle Cardinals game coming up later?
Yeah, I think with the spreads being a high spread on this game for the Detroit Lions, I don't think you have to worry about it. They had a 14 spread last week, and they absolutely destroyed. Now the Jacksonville Jaguars they're the most putrid team, defensively, probably.
They're more of a dead team than they're about as dead as it gets.
Yeah, and they just didn't have anything. But Detroit still styled. I mean, they styled every play, every drive they had.
Everybody got it on the action.
They didn't kick the ball at all for field goals. So
not one wide receiver. I was like, oh, Jameson Williams. I thought I was slick with that call. Yeah, he scored. So did everyone.
Everybody scored. Even
everybody got one.
Both running backs scored. And David Montgomery got, he got 2 touchdowns. I was hoping that Jahmyr Gibbs was going to get his second touchdown of the game there late in the fourth quarter, like around 6 or 7 minutes left in that fourth quarter, but it didn't happen. But that's all right. Yeah, I think you can go right back to Goff this week. It's it's in a dome. If it was away outdoors, I think it would have been a different story here. Goff does love himself some indoor playing, and Lucas Field is pretty fast paced.
It's the same, they're used to it. I always find that teams that play in a dome, if they go on the road and play in a dome, it's like they're playing at home.
Yeah.
It feels like the home field. It's just their comfort zone.
Yeah. My only issue here is what can the Colts do? And do they if the Colts can't do anything, does Detroit take their foot off the gas? I don't think so after last week. Yeah. Cardinals going up to Seattle. Awesome game. This is probably going to be a really good game too.
Could be some rain for that one.
Yeah.
But, it's Friday. We don't know. It's just Seattle. It's always raining.
The slate got tipped on its head before the show. Brock Purdy's out. That's going to make that Green Bay San Francisco game a lot different than what it was to start. And then Kareem Hunt is officially going to be the bell cow this week. It's Isaiah Pacheco is out, officially ruled out. And we get massive volume running back at 5.7K on DraftKings.
Don't spoiler alert the running back portion of the show.
I'm not trying to, but I'm just saying,
giving it all away.
5.7K.
Giving it all away at the beginning. Yeah, no, we're excited about that. Couple other injury notes, and the chat is going wild for it. There are a couple other injury notes or situations of note. Yes, Pacheco not coming back this week. How about Madison and Zamir White, both doubtful and likely not playing, which Amir Abdullah.
Yeah, I'll talk about him during the running back situation.
7 years into that guy's career, he's finally maybe going to be relevant. And there was one more that now I can't remember. Devontae Smith is out, but that game is not officially part of the DraftKings slate. It is on the FanDuel slate, though, BobbyWow.
It is. That it is.
Yeah.
I feel like FanDuel always, it's such a win having that Sunday Night Football game on those slates. It's always always one of the best.
It is. Now, I just remember, and also let's acknowledge the BobbyWow call last week of Westbrook-Akine. As a matter of fact, BobbyWow, I've just been thinking about it. That Westbrook-Akine call was so money that I think you should take off the turd hat. You don't deserve that. That was an amazing call, and that negates the bet.
You know what? If you're saying it, I'll do it.
Remove it. Take it off. No, actually, yeah, Westbrook-Akine, take it off. That was too good of a call. It negates the bet. But another thing, of course, this week, and the big news on the Giants is Danny Dimes is out, Tommy Cutlets is in, and I don't know what to do about that one. But the Giants are saying, the coaching staff is saying, oh, we really like what we have in Cutlets. But what I think is going on is they prefer to lose the season out and just reset things and maybe be in position to pick a quarterback in the draft. I don't think they're trying to see what they have in Cutlets. I think we saw what we had, and it is a third string quarterback, not even really a second stringer.
He's a practice guy.
Yeah, he's a third string quarterback that everybody likes. I like him too, but I don't think it's going to be anything that great over there. So let's get into it. Some of the ownerships probably are not going to reflect some of these changes. For example, Brock Purdy is still kind of in the in the projections here and all that, because this is brand new stuff. But we can get a sense of what the field is looking to do this week, and apparently they're looking to play Jaden Daniels.
That they are.
Is it surprising?
On paper, no. It's not surprising on paper, but it is kind of surprising just in the sense of what we've seen from him this season so far.
Well,
and I've harped on this.
Yeah,
he's cheap enough. He's cheaper on DraftKings. On FanDuel, he's a little bit more restrictive. So
yeah.
I guess that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, that pops. Geno Smith now popping all the way up to 13%. There we go. Geno made the first look lineup that I put out this week. So what's up, right? Picked it on Tuesday, I guess. Figured out who that guy was going to be. Then the field clearly does not know what to do at quarterback, because look at some of this. You know, Anthony Richardson now going to pop to the third highest owned guy after one good performance in a tough matchup. Okay, interesting. So, Tua, who's rarely producing quality games, is now in the mix. Mahomes, I understand it, but it just gets weird. Even Tommy DeVito at that price, okay. I'll have some Tommy D.
Of course.
4K.
Of course.
Yeah. I'm playing cutlets. Come on. But let's talk about our quarterback position and our favorites and go through the slate as we normally do. So guys, let's start at the top. And Bobby, do you have, Jane Daniels looking chalky. Interestingly, Jordan Love is not chalky at all.
Yeah, it's kind of that way on FanDuel too. And it's a little interesting. I think, part of it had to do with last week where he did struggle a little bit against the Bears defense. He threw a bad pick. And, up toward the top of the range, that's not somewhere we see Love very often. And then you got the DVP value as well. So I just think it's almost like a danger play is what the field is seeing. But I actually like Jordan Love a lot, and he's significantly cheaper on FanDuel too. I'll stop bringing FanDuel in.
No, FanDuel's fine, because I did my FanDuel video yesterday and I talked about it. Joe Lowe is the third highest priced quarterback on DraftKings, but he's like the 12th highest priced on FanDuel. Like, it is a massive difference to the point where effectively he should be played on one and not the other one. This should just be leveraged.
Yeah, he's significantly cheaper there. Now, I will say this. I was much more high on him before Purdy was ruled out. I'm a little bit concerned that if, whoever the backup is for San Fran, if they can't score, Frenchie Matty LaFleur is going to scale back the offense a little bit. He's not going to put guys in harm's way. So that's the biggest concern for me with Love. But the dude has as good of a ceiling as anybody when things are going well.
What about Mahomes in a smash up, just like styling out there?
I think Mahomes is fine.
But nothing exciting.
It's just hard to trust him this season. I'll definitely have exposure to him, but not like a smash play by any means for me.
Yeah, no, it's again, he's in that game where it reminds me a little bit of like Goff last week, where they have no reason to pour 50 points on, but it is the Panthers and they don't play a lot of defense over there, and maybe they'll just do it.
Yeah, certainly possible. Yeah, you definitely want some shares. Panthers stink, and Mahomes has found a groove a little bit. So
let's keep it going here. So moving down sort of from that top group, you've got secondary group here, Goff, CJ Stroud. It's just a pass for me. How does everybody feel about Goff?
Love him.
You love him.
He's one of the better options.
By the way, I credited you Westbrook Akine. Burns was very high on Goff last week, although Burns, you've been high on Goff most weeks.
He's a damn good quarterback from an efficiency standpoint.
He is.
He is probably underrated quarterback in the NFL from an efficiency standpoint. He's probably top 3 most efficient quarterback in the NFL this year.
Only took him like 24 targets last week to get 5 touchdown passes or whatever he did.
Lamar Jackson's more efficient than he is this year. And there's probably one other quarterback that's more efficient than him. It might be Josh Allen, but he is extremely efficient. And he is starting to heat up. He started to heat up late in the season last year, and he started to reel off really good fantasy production.
Who are you stacking him with?
Definitely Amon-Ra. I'm going right back to the same guys. I really like. I think it's Jahmyr Gibbs week. He had the week like Dave Montgomery had the week last week. I think it's a Jahmyr Gibbs. I like the stacking with him. I don't mind it at all with that pass catching running back type thing. Obviously, Amon-Ra is in an amazing spot this week. And then Laporta is back this week. But Laporta's been weird this year. He just hasn't been getting it done at all. Though he's in a great spot.
I like the price.
He could explode this week. I mean, his price is awesome. So
yeah. Let's keep pushing down the list here. Yeah, Stroud's a no-go for me. Purdy not playing. So we get to this next section here, and a couple of names I think that will be of interest. First, Bo Nix, doesn't really stand out, but he's been pretty good. He's got an easy matchup on the road. I'm not a big road quarterback like guy if I can avoid it, but Bo on the road.
He's been putting up some serious fantasy production. He might be the best rookie quarterback from a fantasy perspective.
Yeah, they're all good. I'm
just talking about pure fantasy production. Like, he's had the most number of games over 30 DraftKings points. I think it's two this year.
He's 30. Bo Nix has games.
Bo Nix has had like 2. He's had over 30 this week too.
Hold on.
Wow.
I don't know about that. I don't think
he had it last week, and I think he had one once before.
Oh wow. Oh yeah, there you go. Okay, you know what?
Yeah, he
got the 29, which will count it. So yeah, he's
rounds up.
Yeah.
If there's an ROI for fantasy for rookies, he would get it because he's been over 30 points multiple times this year, where any other rookie quarterback has not hit that yet.
What a great rookie class with Jaden and Nix, and Drake May looks good.
Caleb,
yeah, just really, really good. We'll see if Kyler Murray. I think Caleb will come around too, BobbyWow. I do. I think they need to change the coaching.
We'll get to him.
Yeah. But moving on down. So yeah, Bo Nix is interesting. Kyler Murray in that game at Seattle. Bobby, what about Baker Mayfield? So I see in the chat somebody mentioned Baker Mayfield to Evans. I'm not sure about Evans this week. I've seen some coaches wording that I'm not sure about right now in terms of him getting a full workload. We'll have to wait a little bit longer to feel comfortable. I also have seen some props that do not look promising for Evans getting one of his full workload games. But how about you, BobbyWow? What are you thinking here in this group? Who are your targets?
For me, this group here is I like Kyler a lot. I think this is a really intriguing tournament upside week for Kyler. Love the matchup with Seattle. I think that should be one of the more interesting games on the slate. We know Kyler's got the rushing upside. So for me, it's him, it's Geno, and then it's also Anthony Richardson in this price range. Those are the 3 guys that I'm targeting the most. Baker's a guy that, we targeted with or without Evans. We didn't really necessarily care because he just slings the football around a bunch. That said, the Giants defense, passing defense, has been pretty good at times. And just, I don't know, the peripherals, even the props for Baker, like nothing screams play Baker this week outside of, he's going to throw the football a ton and he's getting one of his really good wide receivers back.
He's super low. It's a weird thing for me with Baker, Bobby.
Talk to me.
I like him with Otten more than ever this week. I think when this is the time to go right. So right when everybody gets off of Otten, hey, I can't wait. Everybody's excited to stack him with Evans, but Evans is priced up and possibly not going to get a full workload. Cade Otten is the guy. And against a Giants team that, they have been not that horrific against wide receivers, but that's where the tight ends can get in there and tear up a defense. So
they've been good against tight ends too. And the only issue with Otten is, and again, for tournaments, totally fine, but he's expensive. He's not cheap.
Yeah, that's the problem. That is a negative. They didn't price him down. We didn't get a discount on Otten, at least not on DraftKings. I haven't checked it.
He's still $5,500.
The same way.
It's all the same. Yeah. I like it. And of course, the big thing for me with Baker would be he's 3% owned. So he's just half the ownership of some of these other names.
I think we glazed over one guy that I think is probably going to have a really good week.
You want to talk about Tua?
No, I mean Tua.
Arnold? No.
I was high on Tua last week, and he did well. I think it's CJ Stroud. Nico Collins is really starting to roll back into health right now, and he's starting to hit that connection with CJ. There's a lot of things that are happening with Tennessee right now that on a defensive front where it's just not work. They're just not the same defensive unit that they have been in the past for this year. CJ Stroud will go way under owned this week, and it could be to the detriment of tournament players if you don't roster him this week. I will probably be in the range of 10 to 15% over him. I want to be really over the field on him because he can explode, and Nico Collins is going to be brought with him.
Yeah, that's a tournament.
A lot of people go to Mixon, and I'm not buying Mixon at all this week.
Well, I mean, with Titans defense kind of beaten up, maybe even Mixon becomes viable.
He's too expensive. $8K for Mixon is just too pricey.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to figure out now my thoughts on Christian McCaffrey because originally I was like, that's too close to CMC. I'll just play CMC. Like when I was going through it, but now I don't know. CMC without the quarterback might not be as good, or maybe better.
Yeah, everybody on San Francisco seems like it's going to be a down week for them now.
I almost made a trade in a desperation redraft league that included Juwan Jennings, and all of a sudden, like a couple hours ago, that person was in my text messages like, "Hey, you want to do that trade? Yeah, I'm ready to do it now." And I'm like, What changed? And that's why I started having suspicions about Purdy. I was like, wait, let me check the news here. This guy seems a little too eager to make this trade. So I'm glad I didn't leave it in the old offer box. You gotta never leave trades out there for too long, guys. Don't reward people. Don't let them make the call.
This could be vintage 2023 where we see Nico and Tank Dell go off.
Oh, Cohiba in Houston radio says as Nico is saying he's going off this week. So
yeah, I'm a little more interested kind of seeing the injury side of things. But the crazy thing about Tennessee is, they've actually been the number one passing defense in terms of yardage allowed, and they've been number 2 overall in terms of defensive yardage allowed overall. It's been a surprisingly good season for their defense.
Take a look, Tennessee allowing. All right, it's gotten less extreme than it's been, but they're still allowing 37 fewer passing yards per game to opposing wide receivers than the average of those opposing teams. So these numbers really start to come together on the power rankings. You can see here, yeah, Titans are really good. And there you go. There's your Giants team, also good versus the pass, and you could run all over them. So hello, Bucky Irving and Rachaad White. Back to it. I just distracted myself with that. All right, moving down in salary. So the next chalkiest guy, I mean, we mentioned some of these names, but Geno is coming up as chalk, right? Geno has that matchup. Everybody likes it, and he's really easy to stack with JSN and or Metcalf. Really just an easy, comfortable stack, or you kind of go him or Walker, ideally not both. But down from here, there's a couple other names that are showing some ownership. So I think Anthony Richardson is dangerous. Like when I look at Anthony Richardson for me, and you guys give me your take on this, when I look at Anthony Richardson, I say tournament only, right? This guy is either going to get you a 9 or he's getting you a 30. There's almost very little middle ground. And if he scores, he has to do it. He just is not that good of a thrower, so he has to run for the touchdown. Detroit, a tougher team, but Detroit could also be up 38-7 and then just kind of lighten up, and all of a sudden Anthony Richardson gets it done.
Well, let's be clear too. Anthony Richardson, we talked about it last week. We were really excited about him, and he got it done against the Jets, who I know have not been what we expected, but still, they're relatively, they've got some really solid players on defense. I just think we talked about the Anthony Richardson, this is my last shot mentality, and it felt like that came through last week. So I'm content to ride the train in tournaments again this week.
Do you need to stack him? Does he need to be stacked with anybody?
I don't think so. No. I don't think so. Pittman's really intriguing on FanDuel because he's so cheap. I may boost the wide receiver projection when he's in the lineup, but I'm not going to force a stack. No forced.
Yeah, because if he's getting it done, it really is 75% his legs anyway. Like if he's getting to 30, it's not because he threw for 4 touchdowns.
True. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he threw for almost 300 yards last week, but you're right. He only passed for 1 touchdown. But.
And in fairness, it was in a couple of plays. Like there were some broken plays, and the Jets are just poorly coached. That's not what you're going to get with Detroit. You're not going to have like Josh Downs just standing there and everybody forgot to cover him like that. I don't know that we're going to see that exact scenario.
Sure. Oh yeah. I'm not saying to expect it. I'm just saying I think it's worth another look.
Absolutely. All right. So in the bottom of the barrel, I only see 2 real names here that stand out at all. And tell me if I'm missing one. I see, Drake May still viable. I like Drake every week. He's been fine. He runs a little bit. He does everything I need my quarterback to do. I like him. Knicks, I don't really see that much of a difference between May and Knicks, to be honest, other than May hasn't quite hit those 30 pointers yet, but they're maybe coming. But it's not the easiest matchup. Dolphins are pretty good, especially against the pass. And then it's down to Tommy Cutlets at 4K. Is there anyone else viable here? I mean, if Josiah was with us today, he might be talking Bryce Young, but Josiah, by the way, feel better. Yeah. Who are you looking at?
I've been saving this one up because as a homer, I get a lot of toughness for it, but I do think this is the week that you can play Caleb Williams.
Stop the presses.
I haven't said it for several weeks now, okay? But this is a week you can play Caleb.
Really?
He's dirt cheap.
He is that.
The offense looked genuinely different last week with the new coordinator. And, Thomas Brown as the new offensive coordinator has brought life into the offense. It just feels and looks different. And I think if you're going to beat the Vikings, you beat them through the air. So
that
to
is
me,
how it's done. Plus their running backs are a little dinged up.
But I think they'll be fine. But to me, what we saw different things from Caleb last week than we had the previous 3 or 4 weeks. So at $5,100, and a decent matchup against a Vikings team that has struggled a bit against the pass with, he's also got cheap wide receivers. You look at, DJ Moore is cheaper than he should be. Rome Odunze, though, is really, the way too cheap for the amount of targets he's been getting. So I do think Caleb's an option in tournaments. And again, you're getting this guy at 2% ownership. I'm not saying all in, not saying lock button, not saying, he should be the highest exposure for you, but I am saying, he could win you a tournament this week.
We need a counterpoint from DFS up north on this one, the Minnesota fan on that defense. But I like it. I like the call. Listen, at 5,100, why not? He's gotten you there before this season. Vikings defense is good, though. They have a very confusing defense. I'd say a defense that's difficult for a rookie quarterback to read, but they have been torched via the pass in recent weeks. So, yeah, finally permission from Bobby to play Caleb. I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for it. Burns, you playing? What are your thoughts on that? You like a little Caleb this week?
Until he can pass for consecutive weeks over 200 yards, no.
Can I give you one other reason, though? Thomas Brown gave him permission to use his legs last week. Finally. Caleb ran for 70 yards.
Yeah, where was that all season long?
Look, I'm not saying, I'm just saying. It's usually I don't like to buy into these changes at offensive coordinator because, 99% of the time it's, who cares? It just felt like Caleb, someone unbuckled his seatbelt a little bit. Like they released some pressure and he looked more like Caleb. And I think the rushing upside is a big deal too at 5,100. So I don't know. I'm done now. I just wanted to mention, rushing is there too.
I like it. So I think the takeaway from the QB spot for me is, listen, this is a wide open week. It was, again, as I was putting my cheat sheet together, my 2 last, I try at times to sort of condense the names. This was not that kind of a week. It was like, all right, listen, there's a lot of names here. Yes, there are just a couple that I think you're playing in your cash lineup. And I think the ownership is probably correct. Like, if you're in a cash game or something like that, try to get Jaden if you have it, or you can just play Geno and it's fine. Safe. At one point it was going to be Purdy, But when it comes to which of these quarterbacks are going to win you a tournament or give you a shot to win, it is wide open. And it's going to be tough to nail down that part of it. So hopefully in making lineups this week, we'll be able to hone in on some running backs and some wide receivers to where you can be very comfortable playing a plethora of quarterback wide receiver stack options. So I'll have more than I normally do. And that's why I don't mind taking a shot, even on Caleb, even though he's been terrible.
I mean, he hasn't played a really that great of a defense yet. Not at the level of the Minnesota Vikings.
Green Bay's pretty good.
They're okay, and he only threw for 230 yards against them. I'm just saying, like, I'm looking at some of these defenses where he actually styled, and he styled against Jacksonville and Carolina, and then he styled against Indianapolis.
Pretty much the same teams that all the
and he was garbage against Washington. He was garbage against Arizona. He was pretty close to garbage against Houston. Actually, was garbage against Houston and Tennessee. So when he goes up against good defenses, they shutter him. So I can't get behind it. I'll hand build a lineup with them, but I can't get behind it. Minnesota, I get it. Teams have beat Minnesota over the top and through the passing situations, but he's not that level of quarterback yet to beat this team.
Tournament only for sure.
Yeah,
I agree with you, Burnsy. I totally see your points.
Wow. All right, guys. That covers the quarterback position. Let's jump over to the running back group, and we're going to figure out who the chalk is and who the good chalk is and the bad chalk and all that good stuff. And there's a lot of really great RB plays this week. But I think we can hone in on a few and not have to get too crazy or too wide swath with what we're doing. So let's dive right into that. And a reminder here, you're watching the DFS Army YouTube channel. So if you're enjoying this type of content, DFS, we break it all down. Fantasy football. You got the In the Crease crew talking hockey. It is a non-stop gamble fest here. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, smash the notify. Let us know you're out there. And which is your favorite QB wide receiver combo? Hit us up in the comments with that and let us know who's going to win the Millie Maker for us this week. I mean, you got to balance ownership with upside. And, again, back to that Caleb play, like he's going to be unowned. That stack, if it goes off, you're going off at sub 1% ownership if you double stack him. So that's where it can help you. And that's the kind of stuff we're looking for here on the Tournament Tactics show. Again, shout out to Josiah, who's not feeling well. He's with us in spirit and mind, but not in body. Not this time. But yes, he's got the he's got a stream of friends bringing chicken soup to the house. Older friends, neighbors, the people who live downstairs bringing up the chicken soup. He's fine. He'll be fine.
Where's Josiah?
Yes, he's with the MILFs, the GILFs. Okay, let's get into it. Running back position and the clear chalk of this slate is Devon Achane, coming in at 34% projected ownership in a smash spot at home, coming off of 17 carries. Now, last week he was also chalk, and it didn't go crazy, but he did fine. He got what you wanted. He got 17 carries, a bunch of targets. He did Achane things, just didn't have the breakaway explosive play that usually takes him from the 20-point score to the floor to the 30-point smash. But Achane, I love it. McCaffrey, now we really got to figure that one out. He's at the top of the ownership list, but now I don't know. I think still good, but maybe not. I want to hear thoughts. I haven't enough time to think about it. And then some other, I think, smash plays coming up. Brian Robinson, very high owned at 5,600. Kareem Hunt, still not even showing the ownership reflection of what he's probably going to be. Kenny Walker, Connor in a great situation as well. So, let's jump into this running back position. BobbyWow, who are you targeting in the high-end range? You got Achane, Gibbs, Mixon, Taylor, Christian McCaffrey. Do any of these stand out for you? Just going to eat some Achane chalk?
I mean, I think I'll be eating McCaffrey chalk still. I'm not concerned about him. The one thing we've seen over and over again in San Francisco is, whoever it is, Shanahan finds a way to make it work. I think CMC is like, Alvin Kamara 2.0, where he's going to get a ton of looks. I love Achane, sucks that he's chalk, but I'm totally willing to eat the Achane chalk. I think Bernsey, highlighted last week just how effective he's been as a wide receiver since Tua's returned. That PPR upside is insane. And, that is worth eating the chalk for me. And then, outside of him, I think Kenneth Walker would be the other guy I'm looking at closely up in this range, who's, not going to be nearly as garner nearly as much ownership as the others. I do think he's got some good upside though against Arizona. So yeah, CMC, Achane, and Kenny Walker in that 7K and up range.
No Jonathan Taylor, right?
Not for me.
Yeah, no, it's a tough matchup for Taylor as well. And Jahmyr Gibbs, let me just show you what Jahmyr Gibbs has done this year. Jahmyr Gibbs he's like a 20-point machine. Got that 35er that 1 week, but it's 17, 16. The floor is actually shockingly high for a low volume guy. Doesn't seem to really get sub, 13, 14 fantasy points, but he's mostly capped at around 20 because Montgomery comes in and takes half the touches. It's really tough. He's got a high floor. I think he's low ceiling. Burns, you like Gibbs and mix in a little bit in this group, or you kind of what's your take?
Yeah, I probably won't have any Gibbs or mix in this week. I'm just not. I just think 8K for Mixon is just too high. At this, yeah, I get it. He had multiple touchdowns, Monday night, but
his production absolutely justifies it. Like he is basically.
I just look at the defense that he's going up against, the front of them. Tennessee's had a really good defensive front against running backs this year. They're just not metrically where he's not metrically where I want him to be for me to roster him. If he makes it in lineups, by all means, because I don't X anybody out, but I'm not going out of my way to target him by any stretch. Yeah, I get it. The Gibbs thing, this year he's been pretty flatline in the 20s.
I just found it interesting that was the same guy in the same role last season. And, he would just pop a little. I felt like he was popping for the 28s and the 35s a little bit more than what I've seen this year. And I don't know, maybe it's a testament to how good Montgomery has been, and he has been good.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to ignore him.
Oh, I'll still have lineups with him. I think he could explode. He has the potential to explode. He could go for 32 at any point. He's just got to break. If he breaks more tackles, and he could, just run for him, like, off screen passes and everything. So, but yeah, like he's in play for me. Achane is definitely in play. I mean, Achane is in such a good spot this week. KW3, I love KW3 this week as well. I think he is just he was high on my list last week and he faltered. But I believe that with Arizona coming in, he's just gonna explode this week.
This is a better spot for Walker than it was last week. Was last week? He was on the road. Yeah, on the road as an underdog at San Francisco. Give me a home game and give me a not an underdog game. You know what I mean? That's where you want that running back. That's where all the boxes are being checked off. That's where you're like, okay, home running back, favorite. He's not really favored here, but it's a pick 'em. But if you go to the right sports book, he's favored. Got to pick the right one.
His touchdown props look pretty decent too.
Yeah. There's a couple other names that prop out really well, but let's move on. This is a week where there are lots of low-cost, viable running backs. I'm excited. I love it when there's a cheap running back. Last week messed me up. I had to pay up at running back, and I don't like paying up. I like bargains. So we're in the mid zone here. You've got Montgomery, Chuba Hubbard. Chuba Hubbard unplayable. Montgomery at 6,700, very tough play. He got like 7 for 20. Like he had his best game ever last week. 2 touchdowns. The team scored 50, and he still barely would have made value against this salary. Tournament winning, barely. And that was a spectacular game. I mean, you want to try to bet 2 touchdowns, and he also caught 3 passes. When does he do that? So last week was a bit of an anomaly game, and he still kind of barely got there. And again, it's tough for him and Gibbs to show a ceiling for me. Connor in a great spot though.
Yeah, I think I just add a list quick is Josh Jacobs. Especially with the San Francisco news, Josh Jacobs continues to look good, and he caught 4 of 5 targets last week. So if he's going to be involved in the passing game, just an added bonus for him.
Yeah. He could get there. And yeah, he does have very good prop projections as well. Shout out to the new prop projection system on the DFS Army Research Station, which makes life really easy to kind of get everything in one place. But yeah, moving on down the list here, I'm not going to have much interest in Aaron Jones, guys. I don't think I'm going to have much interest in Swift. Do you guys have either of those on your radars? No.
Nope.
Okay. So let's get to the fun part of the running back group, which is the sub 6K guys, the ones that open stuff up, the ones that we can actually throw in the flex if we want. Some of these names. Now, first is Swift. I don't think Swift is a good play at all. He's got a Q tag. He's up against the top rush defense. BobbyWow, you already told us Chicago's going to be slinging it.
Well, yeah, that's the hope.
Yeah, it's not Swift for me, but I think Tyrone Tracy is playable.
I agree. I like Tracy this week.
Okay, everybody on board? Yeah, he's going to get tons of volume. The coach was just
asked. I won't be on board with that.
No, so why not? Talk to me. Underdog?
He's a home underdog, and they're not projected to score. They're not projected for an implied T total over 19 points. No.
What about in your Tommy Cutlets lineup?
Absolutely not.
GPP
I'm not
only.
playing Cutlets.
Oh, you're not playing Cutlets?
I don't want anything to do with them.
It's you.
Not in my lineups.
I didn't know you didn't like Italian people.
It's not. I don't care.
He
just isn't. He's 4K, and everything I researched this year, one quarterback has made it into the top 20 million maker lineups at 4K, and that is less than half of 1%. So
that quarterback certainly did not come out of the University of Illinois. I can tell you that right now.
Have you ever actually had fresh cutlets?
I have, but I'm not
really
taking Tommy fresh cutlets.
But the cutlets.
Yeah, I mean, there's just way too many good plays where you don't have to go that low.
Yeah. Man, Dylan Lobb is getting some love in the chat section here. Like no one want like anything but Amir Abdullah. Wait, we're getting to it. So a big one for you, I know, and for all of us at this point, has to be Kareem Hunt against the Panthers. Where's Josiah when we need him to scream, play running backs against the Panthers? Kareem, no targets last week. Bit of a disappointment, but that was a rough matchup. It's a quality defense. Now they're going up against the Panthers. Everybody thought it was going to be Isaiah Pacheco starting this week. And wasn't it just like a couple? Yeah, it was just last week that Kareem Hunt was 6,700 and we're playing him. They get $1,000 discount.
Yep.
Because they thought he was going to be the backup.
Yeah. See, BJ Brian, he knew what he knew the reference.
Dude, you're going way out of bounds on this one, but yeah,
he knew the reference.
I'm telling you, with Tommy DeVito, I just can't get there. It has nothing to do with him being Italian.
It's
and
like
I think what Burns is thinking is with Caleb at 5,100, how could you play Tommy DeVito at 4K? It doesn't even matter.
I mean, I'd rather play Caleb, yeah. But But you know
what we haven't discussed is that the nuts quarterback. All right, hold on. We are timestamp this 44 minutes 52 seconds. That the nuts quarterback is none other than Josh Dobbs.
Okay.
Starting on the 49ers for 4K Stone Min.
he's not starting.
Wait, who's starting?
Brandon Allen, dude.
No, if it's that guy, forget it. I'm only doing it.
Josh Dobbs is not. He's already been. Brandon Allen's already been ruled the starter.
It's definitely Brandon Allen. Oh man,
It was on.
Right.
It's already been posted.
Erase that timestamp. Get rid of it. All right, forget it. Forget I said anything. Editor, remove that portion of the show, please. But if it was Josh Dobbs, you know he was winning us the tournament this week. He's done it before. It's just like Flacco. It's just like Winston. These guys have done it before.
He did it on a showdown.
Yeah,
Uh,
Doesn't matter. Even Andy Dalton has done it before.
Thank goodness we don't have to concern ourselves with that. I will have quite a bit of the running backs. Tracy, I like Tracy a lot. I know Bernsey doesn't like him as much. Ramondre is another guy that I really like a lot. He's getting a ton of volume. Drake May happened to throw the ball into the end zone, last week, which isn't common. I think he gets a touchdown and he's there this week, and his ownership is going to be really low compared to the rest of the running backs in this range. So Tracy Stevenson, you mentioned Kareem Hunt, and I think we can move on.
No, and Brian Robinson Jr. I mean, this guy is the chalk.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I was waiting for you to go further down. Sorry.
Yeah. B-Rob, great. Also, look, he's not getting 25 touches. And people are talking about Eckler. Eckler plays a role on that team that is not like the goal line role. It's going to be Brian Robinson Jr. smashing in for touchdowns against a defeated Dallas team. Brian Robinson Jr. is going to be the reason why the Jaden Daniels chalk doesn't work. It's the perfect leverage off of the highest owned quarterback on the entire slate. I mean, we talk about tournament tactics. This is the tournament tactics. You don't play. It's not enough. Yeah, this is the tournament tactic. If Jaden Daniels is the chalk, think about how that chalk fails. One is they kick a bunch of field goals, but man, it's Dallas. They're not playing a lot of defense in Dallas right now. So what's the second thing that happens? Well, Jaden Daniels doesn't get the touchdowns because B-Rob smashes them in twice at the goal line. And of the 4 touchdowns, he gets 2, and that ruins the game for Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I think this isn't even new. If the Jaden Daniels chalk has failed every week so far this season, because that is the identity of the Commanders football team. They run the football.
Yeah.
Now, the beauty is Robinson's cheap enough to where he doesn't have to account for 80% of the rushes to hit value here. So I totally agree with that call. I'm all over Robinson too.
Yeah, B-Rob. And then, and by the way, we also have to address the Tampa group, and no one wants to. No one wants to talk about them because we don't know what to do with them.
I like them.
Well, okay, so take me through, because I like them too, but I don't know. I don't really know what to do with it. Bucky Irving is like, everybody tell me about Bucky Irving. All right, I don't fucking know.
I'm not sure if it is this week for him.
I don't know.
I've been trying to get into this a little bit more. Rachaad White he's been their guy that they go to in passing situations quite a bit. And this is why I like them. They're going up against the 18th ranked defense and against pass catching running backs. And I really like Rachaad White over Bucky Irving. I think they're both viable to have, not in the same lineup, but have both in your player pool. Just try not to get them in the same lineup. That just won't. I don't think it's going to work this week. But they're both equitable, same salary, basically $100 apart. But they're going into a good matchup. Giants can get beat on the ground. I mean, even if you look at Statsational's models, I think they're one of the worst defenses this week. They're probably top 3 or 4.
Look at the rushing number. Yeah, look at the rushing number.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay, 161 rushing yards, and they don't have a running quarterback. That is a monster number. Hang on. If you look at the Giants here, they'll should be
29.95.
Yeah, I mean, they're allowing 30 yards above mean expectation to opposing running back.
Defense lower than them, and that's Carolina.
We have fucking teams that are the worst against the run going up against cheap running backs. Carolina is going to get torched by Kareem. Cash
Yeah.
flows everything around me.
I was
Cream
building
gets the
so
money.
many lineups around Kareem Hunt at the beginning of the week. And then people are like, oh, it's going to be Isaiah Pacheco. I'm like, God damn it. Because I thought Kareem Hunt was great. Kareem Hunt is just an amazing spot. Carolina sucks.
Kareem.
And then, Kareem. And then Brian Robinson's in a great spot too. But I think you can get some tournament leverage with the Tampa Bay running backs this week.
That's what it is.
My 1A is Rachaad White. My 1B is Bucky Irvin.
Bobby, you have a 1A. How do you feel about the combo? Just like your take on it. Irving.
If I'm playing anybody, it'll be Rachaad White.
Rashad over Bucky?
Yep.
Okay. And Sean Tucker doesn't come into anybody's discussions, right?
No.
There are some cheaper guys. I glazed over Rico Dowdle because road underdog.
Home.
Road's
not
underdog.
bad. Road's not bad. It's the home.
Home underdog's worse, but I don't know if I trust the Giants. You know what? I think Rico Dowdle's probably fine too at that price. He's probably acceptable. He is the full starting running back at this point, and I think he's acceptable. I'll allow it.
I mean, if you go by that adage, you don't want to play Christian McCaffrey then.
I think
he's an away underdog.
I think McCaffrey and doesn't have a proper quarterback. I think it is. I think it is sketchier, but no, because he's Christian McCaffrey, and like the only way these guys are winning is if they lean heavy on McCaffrey in that game. So you can't fade it because with the backup quarterback, the only chance they have is a heavy dose of CM sizzles.
You don't want home underdog running backs. Away underdog running backs are very viable.
Avoid the home dog.
Yep.
So speaking of home underdog running backs, as we're talking about avoiding them, there is a low-cost home dog running back conveniently available at 4,300. Mr. Burns is very excited for the discount. Do we need to pay attention to Amir Abdullah? The chat is loving him.
Yeah, I mean, they can love him all they want. I'm just not going there.
I
think you can stop right at the 5,300 mark or the 5,400
price,
mark.
Burns? It's 4,300. It's free.
I get it. I understand.
It's a free running back.
They're not even projected with an implied team total. Their implied team total right now is 1775. You got to be over 19. Sorry. 19
and over, arguing.
Man.
Wait, the chat is arguing that it's not the chat that loves him. It's just one person, one loud member of the chat that keeps saying it. The chat is.
I'll tell you, weirder crap has happened in the top 20 Millie Maker lineups this year. Probably the lowest scoring year we've ever probably seen in the Millie Maker. It's just weird.
2 weeks ago was I think it was like a 183 or some, maybe the lowest.
It was 178.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Yeah, but no, I'm not going here. It's just not. It's not necessary. Not when you got guys like that are way better spots, in terms of like production,
and not that much more expensive. I mean,
they're you got to stop at 5,400.
I'll just say this one thing about Amir Abdullah, and then I'll let it go. But I am curious to your take on it, BobbyWow. But if I compare him to the wide receivers that are kind of floating around this price point, it looks a lot better when you stop comparing him to running backs and you just say, who at 4,300 can I get? And it's like Juju Smith-Schuster or P. Ryan. There's not a lot of options going on here at this price.
Which would make more sense to me as an argument if there weren't value guys at running back that are just a little bit more expensive.
Yeah.
Like we're not paying up that much. Maybe CMC, you're paying up at one running back spot, maybe. So I don't know that we're dropping down that low at wide receiver anyway. But
I'll put it like this, because I actually have this actual choice in one of my redraft leagues. Westbrook Akine or Amir Abdullah. I'm playing Amir.
Okay. Yes, of course.
I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying.
But here's the question. Here's the real question. And this is why I know I'm not that excited about it. Who are you playing? Tommy Cutlets or Amir Abdullah?
I play Cutlets over Abdullah.
Okay. I don't know. At 4,300, he catches passes. He's caught passes for the last 35 years of his career. So he can do that. I just,
he doesn't have to do much. Just catch a couple.
It depends on ownership for me. If he's going to be 25+% owned, which I think he will be.
Oh, you think so? I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
Oh man.
No. People hate
I hope you're right.
People hate a sub 5K running back. It's scary. Price is too cheap. I think he sucks.
I'll cap my exposure at 15-20% on Abdullah.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
No Name is asking. No Name, go back to the beginning of the show. There was a turd hat, but it was forgiven based on the Westbrook Akine call that was so good last week that we removed the turdliness. It was removed. Okay, so that basically covers the running back position. Let's shift focus to our wide receiver group. Let's jump back over to the Domination Station Optimizer, available exclusively at DFS Army. Promo code Geek, 10% off. Thanksgiving is next week. You're going to want to be a member. You're going to want to be a subscriber for Thanksgiving week. Even if you just do a 1 week, there is so much DFS. There's so much NFL. There's so much hockey. There's even other sports. It's nonstop. That is an important week. Plus, you're home. Your family's around. You don't want to have to talk to them. You got to be in your office making bets. And that's what the Dom Station is for. What fun is Thanksgiving if you don't have a rooting interest with money on the line on those games? You know what I mean? Like your family's there. A bunch of them that you actually don't like. You actively don't like them. You're like, oh, they're here too. Let me watch the game and not talk to anybody. Or even worse, so you're an introvert, right? And you have to be in this room full of a lot of people. And you're like, oh my gosh, there's so much talking going on here. It's overwhelming me. But guys, I can't talk. I got lineups that I'm paying attention to. I'm watching the game. Do you guys watch football during Thanksgiving? Like in your households? I do, but I just want to make sure that everybody does that. I feel like, what if somebody's like, we never turn the TV on? Like we have the Yule log. But no, is it pretty? Everybody watching the game?
Yeah.
Burns, in your household, game is on.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. No one's like, no, turn the TV off or any of that stuff.
If my wife does say that, I just say, go back in the kitchen or something. I don't know what to tell you.
Yes. Timestamp it. 57 minutes, 22 seconds. Burns tells his wife, get back in the kitchen.
She kicked my ass, but yeah, I mean,
it's short. We're clipping that one. Okay.
But she would kick my ass, but
yes, she would be like, hell no, throw your ass back in the kitchen. She's watching the game. You know, the best is when your wife is like, no, she's got her fantasy football team. She needs to watch the games to root for. All right, running wide receiver. I'll let it go there. Luckily, no one's wife watches this. You'll never get busted for that. Okay. Wide receiver group. We got the studs. We got the duds. We got it all. But when you sort by projected ownership for wide receivers, one of the crapolaest ones of them all comes up as the top chalk. This is just a mess. This is no one's really that chalky, but look at this mess. Jacoby Myers going up against Pat Surtain. Are we doing that? I mean, I benched that dude on my freaking. Also, like Myers is in my redraft. I'm not playing him against Surtain. Am I crazy? BobbyWow, you're making a face.
No, I mean,
that's the highest owned guy.
He's cheap.
I get it, but like, come on,
he's cheap
man.
And the only guy.
Yeah, but that's even worse. That means Surtain's like, who am I going to cover? Amir Abdullah? I'm covering this guy.
No, I agree. You're not crazy.
Burns, is he going to be shadowed?
Actually, I don't think he's going to be shadowed by Surtain at all. I think it's Surtain's going to be on. Give me a second.
Trey Tucker? You don't even know the name of the second guy. That's how crapola he is.
I know it's actually going to be Trey Tucker.
I don't know about that.
I don't know either, but if Surtain is on him, that's probably the easiest matchup for Surtain's had all year.
Sutton, I get it. Juwan Jennings, this will float away when the Purdy news makes its way into the ether. But not a whole lot of chalk here. Like, not obvious plays at all. Everybody's 14, 13%. The field and the ownerships are not giving us a lot of information here. I feel like it's mysterious. And I do still have my no one against Denver rule, except for Amir Abdullah, but a couple shares. But that's what I'm talking about with Myers. I'm not playing that guy. Come on. No. But let's start at the top. There are some studs. Burns, you already told me that you like, and why not? Hang on, sort it correctly. Of course, we like Amon-Ra, right? Amon-Ra coming off maybe his best game as a pro. Was that his highest scoring game ever?
If not, it was like top 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I don't remember him getting that high, like 41.7. I think he's almost crested 40, but didn't get there.
Yeah. And he gets the vaunted 100 DFS Army rating. Not much more to ask for there. Like I said, the only thing holding Amon-Ra, the sun god, back in that game is if they just choose to go a different way with the football. He'll be open. He'll be if they just like, no, we gave it to Monty instead. It's just how they choose to score their tutties. That's really what it's going to come down to. Amon-Ra, I think, is the safest path. So when I did my breakdown, my thought was if you needed a cash guy and you're paying, you're in this, I'm up over 7K and this entire group, Amon-Ra far and away, sort of the safest bet to give you a floor of 20 points and with some upside. Like Amon-Ra is probably getting you 20 on a bad game.
Yep. I fully agree.
Yeah. So with that being said, Amon-Ra for me is a little more the cash play, very safe, very comfortable. There are some tournament, let's call them pivots, but they're not really pivots because they're all the same ownership. So I don't even think that is an appropriate. There's no leverage here. It's just everybody's kind of not very highly owned. But Justin Jefferson, tougher matchup with the Bears. I want to hear your takes. Nico Collins, no. Actually, I kind of like it with no Snead there. Nico Collins, get it done. Malik Neighbors with Cutlets, man, that's a lot of money to pay for a wide receiver connected to a kid who's most known for his mama's cutlets, not throwing footballs. I love him, but I mean, that's what he's known for. CeeDee Lamb, no, right? We're not playing him. Tyreek Hill, maybe. Mike Evans, maybe, but probably not. Only with Baker, maybe. Terry McLaurin, You know what I'm saying? So of this whole group that I just said the names of, guys, and I gave my reactions with just and maybes. I think it's pretty understood. But BobbyWow, are you seeing anybody that's popping here like that you're excited to really click that button a lot of the time? Do you have a gut feeling about Reek? Are you thinking Nico is back? Like anything here?
I think it's Amon-Ra far and away, and then Nico would be the second guy for me that I'll have a good chunk of exposure to in this range. Everyone else, I'll have some with Tyreek, I'll have some Evans as well. DK Metcalf is popping a little bit if you get a little bit lower, but
coming down a little bit.
Yeah, I think Amon-Ra and Nico.
Burns, how about you?
I mean, it's Amon-Ra and Nico. I don't mind Tyreek Hill this week. And I actually don't mind Terry McLaurin at 6,800 either. He's got
Terry.
It's a favorable matchup for him. And he's got good numbers against the scheme, so I don't mind it at all. Plus,
the DS to see him that low owned.
Yeah, the DS is popping Noah Brown in the lineups more, and that
be careful with that.
I know, and that's kind of why I'm thinking it's a McLaurin week.
Yeah, I just be careful with once you put the boost on, especially, it always wants to grab
the cheaper one,
that cheaper guy. I would say with Daniels, his big weeks have come with Zach Ertz. It's more McLaurin and Ertz. I've been waiting for the Noah Brown breakout game the whole season, and it hasn't happened yet. I mean, it's week 12. It's coming.
Yeah.
Up. It is coming.
The thing with Terry is,
Oh wait, revenge narrative. Cedric always loves a revenge narrative.
The thing with Terry is that he's been better. He's been far more consistent this season than any other season with Jaden Daniels, but he still has yet to hit 25 points. So he's kind of, his ceiling isn't there still. 6,800, a little too high of a price to pay for me.
Yeah, but he's good for 20 most weeks. That's almost there, Yeah. He's not how I want to build my week. I think Terry is exclusively stackable with Jaden. Like, he's not somebody I'm playing as a one-off. I think it's important to differentiate between that. Like, I'm not playing him as a one-off play. I don't think I'm playing DK Metcalf as a one-off. I think that's because I'll have a lot of Geno. I think I'm just going to reserve that for Geno. Keep it for Geno. If he goes off anyway and Geno doesn't go off, I'll say, what happiness it was to have been wrong. What can you do? But at this point, it's Geno. Deebo Samuel is out. No, you're out for me, sir.
Tank
Dell? Well, I mean, no, for me. He's dead.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, no quarterback, no Deebo. No go. So let's go to the secondary group here. Some of the names here in sort of the mid tier, Metcalf and Jackson Smith and Jigba, of course, again, tied in very nicely with those Geno stacks. Deebo out in terms of unplayable. Unfriend you. Where is he? Where is she? Where's my girl?
I unfriend you.
Yes, there she is. Dolores, she knows. Dolores knows. Unfriend you. Tank Dell, another thing. Tank Dell has had 6 weeks with no Collins to put up a smash game. BobbyWow, what happened? Is he good?
I'm not super interested there. I think he's probably better with Dell on the field, to be honest with you. But again, the Tennessee defense has been pretty stingy, and I'd rather play Nico if I'm going there.
Who else is popping in the zone? So, this is a tough area. Josh Downs, the flaws of Anthony Richardson. Burns, is that a stack we're starting our lineups with this week? Richardson to Downs?
I want to hear Burns' thoughts on Marvin Harrison because he's popping for me a little bit this week.
Ooh, okay.
And I'm intrigued. I want to hear if Burns is feeling the same way or not.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a lot of Marvin Harrison this week. Seattle's been burnt over the top. Marvin Harrison's been very good over the top, and I think Kyler Murray. I'm playing a lot of Kyler this week. I think it's a great tournament pivot off of a lot higher owned guys in the range that he's in, salary wise. But I think that salary range for quarterbacks is kind of almost like a dead zone this week, where a lot of people just aren't clicking the button on these guys, and that's usually the weeks where these guys go off. So I'll have a bit of Kyler this week. You got to boost Marvin to get him into lineups.
He will not show up.
He won't show up without boosting him. It actually will default to Trey McBride, and then James Conner. So, I really like Marvin Harrison. He was the guy I was going to talk about in this range.
Okay.
Let me get to his scheme stats. This is really why I like him a lot. They're going up against a 50-50 man to zone, but in man coverage, he has a 33% target share. His yards per route ran are 2.36 yards per route ran. Zone, he's a little bit, he's worse in zone coverage. He's 20.4 target share with a 1.9 yards per route ran. But I think he can actually do some damage to Seattle this week. There have been teams that have done damage against Seattle this year over the top. So Marvin is starting to get a better rapport with Kyler. So I like him a lot.
You know what I would like? I would like to see him get more than 5 targets in a game. He's exactly like Jaden Reed. Somebody mentioned him and Reed for this week. Both of these guys have the same issue. They're great talents. We got to throw it to them more than 5 or 6 times, or it makes it very difficult to put up enough.
Yeah, he was a guy I was on. I think they played. It was either week 2 or 3 where they played the the Rams, and I was like, you beat the
that
Rams
one
over
time
top.
you were on him, he absolutely
And,
smashed. Yeah.
and he had like 11 targets in like
Finally.
the first half of the game or something like that. It was crazy because they didn't even go to him in the second half. He was like maybe targeted twice in the second half. And
By the way, he was still 7,400 at that time.
yeah,
so
now we get him at 6,100. I mean,
the where he needs to get to is so much lower. At 7,400, you're talking about a 30-pointer to be relevant in tournaments, which the 7K guys are. You know, it's like we all know Tyreek Hill gets you 30. Marvin Harrison at 6K, we only need a low 20s. You get 22.
yeah. But look at him across the range of other positions at this salary, right? Kittle was a great spot coming into the week, but now that we have Brock Purdy out, Kittle at 6K is probably he's unrosterable right now.
Unplayable.
Yeah, he's not rosterable. So because of the quarterback situation, and you guys like Tracy. I don't like Tracy, and he's 6K. I'd much rather have Marvin Harrison.
Cortland Sutton, Jaden Reed. Yeah, Marvin Harrison looks sexier and sexier when you look at the comparables.
And by the way, I'm happy to fade Cortland Sutton chalk. I don't want to. If he beats
I think I'm just not going to play any Cortland Sutton at all.
I agree. That's where I'll be.
If I'm sorting by ownership and that is the first name that shows up as the highest owned guy, just like last week we said, listen, Keyshawn Booty seemed like a cute play until he was popping as the highest owned guy, and then it's like, dude, we're not playing Booty at 25% owned. That's ridiculous. It's a sneaky play that we thought of last week, but everybody else noticed it, so it became not sneaky anymore. Forget it. It's done. It's done. Sutton's fine, by the way. It's just at ownership. The only way I'm playing Sutton at ownership is if he's stacked with Bo Nix. Like, that's it. Yes, I will play him with his quarterback, but that's about it. So, all right. You know what, Burns? You've convinced me on Marvin Harrison.
He's a low owned play. If you got to boost him to get him in lineups, right? But I've been hand building with him.
He's not even that bad. Like, he is projecting better than Jameson Williams. He projects above Josh Downs. The problem for him is, Jackson Smith-Njigba is over here sucking up all the ownership or all the goodness because he's so much better. Jackson Smith-Njigba for me is my favorite. I think he's one-offable. I think you just play him even without.
Yeah, I like him too. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Jackson Smith a lot.
Yeah, just like in that 6K.
And I like J-Mo too. I mean, I like J-Mo in this game against Indianapolis as well at 6K. So I mean, these are guys that you got to build around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One quick thing to emphasize, if I can, if you're trying to take down a tournament, one of the most important things you can do is look at players, who have upside potential relative to their price. MHJ to me has one of the biggest boom potentials with the highest ceiling relative to being 6K. And we talked about it on the showdown yesterday with Calvin Austin. We loved Calvin Austin, right?
Oh,
because
yes.
that is exactly what we look for to try and take a tournament out. It almost worked with him at captain. We were really close.
By the way, I did not have him at captain. I'm like, oh my gosh, after we discussed it,
we talked
and now it's happening. Oh yeah, I was like,
that is a core principle though. If you're trying to take a tournament down, especially a big one like the Millie, you want to hone in on guys like MHJ, who has 30-point upside, is only 6K. Obviously flop potential is there too, but he's one of the few guys this week I'm honing in on for that very reason.
You know who's a name that we identified in back testing this offseason, and these guys all fit the bill. And we were talking about this during back testing, exactly what you're talking about. These are guys that show up in Millie Maker winning lineups a couple times a year, like we did last year, and it was it was Rashid Shaheed.
Yep.
Yeah.
From the Saints, and the idea was, listen, this guy doesn't for tournament winners. We don't want, so that's why I said Jahmyr Gibbs before. I don't need a guy who gets you 20 and 3x like most of the time, but rarely gets you a 4x. Like he gets you 2.5 to 3 almost all the time, like high floor, because they price him up based on the high floor, and they rarely hit those ceiling games. And when the ceilings game, they don't even lever enough to really win you a tournament. The cheaper the guy is when he's getting that 25-point game or the 30-pointer, if you get a 30-pointer out of an 8K guy, all right, he did what I was hoping for. Thank goodness I didn't lose on this spot. You get a 30-pointer on a 5K guy, and you're in position to win the tournament that week. That's why everybody who had Taysom Hill last week were the only people who were relevant. Like everybody else in the tournament, you were dead. If you didn't have Taysom, just turn it off. It's not your week because a 4K guy put up 30. And the minute that happens, if you don't have them, you're done. So these are the names. I agree with you. It's a perfect. And by the way, you know who else is like that? Jaden Reed, Calvin Ridley. Few of the names here in this salary range, they suit that. Jaden Reed, yeah, his floor is like a 2, but he's also got 35-point games this year more than once, and last year a bunch of times.
Yeah, he had it twice this year, week 1, and then he had it like 4 weeks later.
Yeah, early and they jacked up his salary to 8K on FanDuel, like to unplayable levels on FanDuel, where it was like, oh, really? Yeah. He's an 8K wide receiver now. It's getting 60%.
Yeah, I'm not big on Jaden Reed this week at all, though. I think there's another guy on Green Bay that is in much better spot, but
you like Watson?
No,
I like Watson a
Dubs? Lot. Who the hell? Wait,
I like Romeo.
Okay, well, mystery. I like it. But all right, let's.
We didn't get down that far yet.
We'll get to those guys. I love it. I
wasn't ready to talk about, but yeah.
No, I don't like jumping forward. Spoiler: everybody leaves. We give them the spoilers. You guys got to stick around. Like, subscribe, notify, sign up for DFS Army. All those great things.
In this range, though, I'll actually give Bobby a 1-up here. I don't know if he's going to go with this guy, but I like DJ Moore this week a lot. At the 5,500 mark, I think he's just everybody targeted Rome Odunze. He got targeted a lot last week. He had 10, 11 targets. I really think DJ Moore, this is a DJ Moore week. Everybody seems to be forgetting about him, and that's when he does blow up. We saw it last year, and he's only had one blow up game this year where he scored 30 points. And it's coming again. And if Caleb Williams does anything in this game, it's going to be probably through DJ Moore. That's just my opinion.
Really? He's one of your favorite players? All right. This is a very tournament tactics Burns and Bobby play. He didn't make my sheet, but like, I listen, I take it all in.
He's one of these guys. We just talked about it, low ownership, very low price tag for what, where he's been at. And he's got 30-point boom potential at 5,500. Like that checks the tournament takedown boxes for me.
Yeah. More names though. This is a pretty good zone, and I think we're going to find even more playable spots. DeAndre Hopkins. I still want to believe in DeAndre Hopkins that he is Rashee Rice 2.0. I still am on that train, even though it only happened once. I think it can happen again. I believe
he's in play.
Yeah, I think he's playable. Moving down, Pittman only with Richardson, guys. Wandale with Cutlets, no. But on the same note of those other players, and if we're going to stick with the theme of a guy who only needs 5 targets to put up 25 or 30 fantasy points, I know you said Dubs, Burns, but what about Christian Watson? You got Christian Watson, C-Watts,
yes.
Right?
Yeah, I don't get me wrong. I like them both. This is really why I'm not playing Jaden Reed at all. I like the salary on Dobbs a little bit better. That's really why I'm going there. They're both really equitable, like equatable. I keep saying equitable.
They're
both equatable in terms of the scheme.
That's not
so actually, Watson's a little bit better in yards per route ran than Dobbs, but when you got a $600 salary differential between the two, they kind of weigh out, right? So that's kind of why I'm targeting Dobbs a little bit more than Watson, but I do like them both a lot.
The thing for me about Watson is he's finally at the point where his snap counts are coming up. Mm-hmm. He was 45%, 40%, 50%. Last week he was close to 70%, and he
Was he?
looked so good. Oh yeah,
You know what?
I had to watch him beast mode against the Bears. He looked really healthy, and he looked like a number one wide receiver to me last week.
This is a situation, I love the talent of Christian Watson. Let's get that very, very clear. This looks like a situation for the matchup sheet. Let me just pull this up. Let's take a look at these because this is an important game. So let's see what we got going on here. Romeo Doubs still out there all the time. Yeah. So Watson moving up from 50% up to 70%. And look who's moving down. Jaden Reed, 56%. Okay. And then, of course, Vic's here at 34. So at least last week, aside from the boost in target percentage, Watson got a significant boost in snap count. So yeah, KS is probably right. It'll probably be Wicks this week or something else random. Are we double stacking J Love? And if so, are you guys locking that one as a double stack and just two of these guys? They're all cheap and include Tucker Kraft, the end zone raider in it.
Just because he could throw a touchdown to 5 different guys, Jordan Love. He's
no double stacks.
I won't force it.
No, I'm not going to force it.
Wow.
No.
Okay. All right. Checking. Okay. So we're down here. We're in the bargain zone. I think this is where, by the way, we're going to have to be living this week. Based on just the way the salaries are going to work out, we are going to play a lot of these type of wide receiver. We're going to, it's going to be harder to get like an Amon-Ra or two studs in there. There's the salaries don't really set up that way. Maybe one stud wide receiver or running back, and then a lot of middling guys, I think. Or at least
that's part of why the Caleb Williams play, for example, or even Cutlets, if you want to go crazy. Like, to me, it's Caleb, though, is that added benefit of his salary being so low, and then his legitimate stack partner salaries being so low too, that you'll be able to pay up wherever you want elsewhere. That's the other beauty this week about those lower price guys.
It's so leveraged.
It's harder this week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, man, if only we could get that big game out of Caleb.
And it's a couple guys too, not just Caleb, but yeah.
Or there's other names, but if only that could happen. And his stacks are 5,500 DJ Moore or Roma Dunze in the 4s. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Christian Watson, though, big play upside. I love him. Love Jacoby Myers. I mean, too high owned.
Agreed.
He's probably fine though. He's fine, but like at
2,100. But man,
really, the question is this, and this is what. All right, I get a lot of this is DFS strategy right now, and I get a lot of these questions. How do I know what chalk is good chalk and what chalk is bad chalk? How do you know when to fade the chalk? And that is one of the hardest things with DFS, other than you ask yourself, what would BobbyWow do? And it's always fade the chalk. Always fade the chalk, right? But keeping it real, what do I really say to myself with this chalk piece? Is Myers going to destroy you to the point where he Taysom Hill's your lineup? You didn't play him. You cannot be in the conversation for winning a tournament this week. At 5K, he would need to put up 30 or 28 fantasy points to get there. And that's just not what he's normally going to be doing. And especially against Denver. Like, I don't see them even scoring 2 touchdowns in that game, the Raiders. And if they're doing it, it's not going to be on the guy that Pat Surtain is locked onto. I just don't see. Could I see him eking his way into a 20.4x? Yes. But even if he did that, do I have to shut the computer off and like, man, I didn't play that chalk? No. Who cares? That's not enough. He's not getting you 35. He's not going to destroy your lineup by not playing him. So why play that chalk? That's how I think about chalk. I think like Booty last week. I'm like, what's Booty going to do? Put up 15, like 12? Who cares? Like I'd rather just fade that.
Yeah, and when you dropped him down, like his projection down, right? You actually were able to get to Nick Westbrook-Akine, and actually you were able to get Humphrey in there as well, little Jordan Humphrey.
Could have. Oh, did he do well last? I just played Kendrick Bourne, who was cheaper than him in the
at
same
3,200.
spot.
He got 15.6 DraftKings points. last week at 3,200.
Yeah. So there you go.
So they just naturally showed up because you took Booty and you lowered his projection completely, so he doesn't show up in many lineups.
Jennings is unplayable without Purdy, in my opinion. He is a straight no-go. As is Deebo Samuel, unfortunately.
Kittle too.
Yeah, George, those guys are no bueno. The only thing that's going to happen is McCaffrey either smashes or that team's getting smashed. And P.S., even just before the show, I was just plowing money onto Green Bay at -3, where it's got to be -4.5 at this point. Like, I feel like it would still be moving during the show. Can somebody check that? Where is that? Did it keep going? I've been trading stocks too much during the day. I'm like used to things just going and moving and keep on going all throughout the day. All right. Sub 5K affordability zone. Let's go through it. Right. I don't, Jordan Addison, no. Leggett, no. I'm not on board with this whole thing. Alec Pierce, maybe. Alec Pierce is another guy. I actually think Alec Pierce is in that list of can win you the tournament off of two targets.
I think you put Xavier Worthy in that category as well.
Mm-hmm.
Are these guys serious? Is it -5.5 right now?
Yeah, I think it is.
It continued to move like a stock.
And you got it at 3.5?
Yeah, well, I got 3.5. I got 3 before the show, and then I alt lined at 3 while we were sitting here. I had to pay like -125 or -130. But I was like, I think. Oh yeah, look at that! Fuck yeah, beat the closing line. Beating the closing line is just. It's not closed yet, but the act of doing that, just you feel like you won the bet, even though you still lose.
I'll never claim my victory.
No, it's not. It's not. It's just
Shanahan team.
You could call it a win just beating the closing line. It does not.
You've won no matter what. Even if the bet loses, you've won.
It doesn't matter because that's a style of betting. If you're going to bet a lot, if you could just beat closing lines all the time, it's like poker hands. I got to play the hand. I got to go all in on my aces, even though, your kings have 47% chance of beating the aces. It doesn't matter. You got to go all in. Where am I?
Let me give you one here, and I promise you, I'll shut up again next week.
Never.
But Roma Dunze is maybe the best option below 5K again in terms of boom or bust potential. And let me tell you why. Number one, we're looking at a guy that has 30 targets over the last 4 weeks. So not just the double-digit targets last week, but consistently he's getting more and more targets. And the most telling factor for me is when the game was on the line and it mattered the most, Caleb Williams did not throw the football to DJ Moore, did not throw it to Keenan Allen, the veterans. He threw a back shoulder fade to Roma Dunze, who completed the play. These guys were kind of born to have chemistry, and that's the way Ryan Poles dreamt it up. And I just think, these are numbers that wouldn't shock me if we saw 7, 8, 9 targets a game for Roma Dunze moving forward, just because him and Caleb are on the same page. And, that back shoulder fade on 4th down to convert last week was the telling sign for me that, this guy's here to stay.
Okay. And by the way, props again. I actually, it was a brutal ending to that game. I didn't DM you, but props to the Bears for making a game of it last week against a quality defense. So it's not that crazy. This guy put up, 10 targets, 6 receptions, had an acceptable 12.5 point score against the Packers. The Packers are just as good of a defense, really, as the Vikings. Like, they're both good defenses. So yeah, it's real. It's real. Triple mention of players from Chicago. I like it.
Shut up again.
Yeah, no, it's all good. So, all right, we're down here sub 5K. We need some affordable wide receivers. We got a Dunze, high upside guy. We talked about Romeo Doubs, playable with Jordan Love. None of these guys makes you feel too warm and cozy clicking the button, but any one of them can get it done. Is there anybody else that stands out for you guys here in the cheap zone? Please don't tell me Westbrook Akine again. I can't even handle it.
Not for me.
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing Westbrook Akine Burns.
Who's chalky is Noah Brown, and also Booty's chalky again.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, by the way, Kendrick Bourne last week had exactly the same game as the week before. And all right, hold on. Matchups. Where were we? Oh, all right. Hold on a second. Let's pull this up. Let's see what the people what they're seeing. Hold on. It keeps going. There we go. Miami, New England. Okay. Let's find New England and let's get a look at the wide receiver group. Okay, that's where it's that. So here's why it's popular, and it's actually correct. Of the wide receiver group for the Patriots, Bourne only 50% of the snaps, DeMario 56%, Booty 96%.
We're talking about Drake May's best game of the season, far and away, and Booty scored 7 or 8 points.
It's really just the thought that he's going to be on the field. He's 3,500 and he's getting 15% of the targets. It's just a cheap guy who's getting some targets. It's not as chalky. Like last week, it was 26%. Like it popped like a big number. If it did, I would definitely fade. But he's not even more owned than freaking revenge narrative Noah Brown. I mean,
Dylan Loeb will score, or Lob, however you pronounce it, will score more points than Booty this week. The backup running back. The backup to Amir Abdullah.
Will Amir Abdullah score more points than Booty?
I don't know. I'd prefer Dylan. Honestly.
Is that why you said Dylan Loeb, just because you didn't want to be positive towards Amir Abdullah?
I'm trying to figure out his name, how to pronounce the name, and I still don't know.
Dylan Loeb. I have no idea how to pronounce that name. Loeb.
2 guys for me though. Before we move on to tight end, I will have some exposure to Adam Thielen. Just based on what he's done previously, he's going to be healthy again. He's going to be playing. He's a full go. 4,700. I'll have some shares, and I'll have a couple shares of Michael Wilson as well on my Kyler stacks, but nobody else for me down here.
If you ever want to know that it's not a good week to pay down at wide receiver, just look at the ownerships, and you could see. It's just because I'm like, hey, is there anybody I'm missing? Everybody, no one's owned. 0.6, 0.5. Yeah, Romeo dubs a little bit, but and DeMario, and then it goes back to 0.3, 0.2, 0.1, just a whole bunch of unowned trash. Even Westbrook-Akine still can't get anybody to chase him, even after like multiple weeks of like scoring touchdowns. Still, no one wants to play Westbrook again, and Booty, and then it's zeros, and ones. So there ain't nothing down here to look for except for sad tears and unresolved issues, mental issues. All right, let's go to the tight end group, guys. Let's figure out who we're playing at the tight end position. Somebody before said something really correct, which was Brock Bowers is matchup proof. He's everything proof. Brock Bowers is everything we hoped that every other first round tight end pick that hasn't worked out was going to be. He's Kyle Pitts, but the correct guy, the version we hoped for. He's OJ Howard if OJ Howard didn't stink. He's a young Gronk, Kelsey, and Tony Gonzalez combined into one person. That's who Brock Bowers is at this point. I've never seen anything like this. He's everything everybody who got excited about Sam Laporta is now disappointed that Sam Laporta isn't. See how I turned it into a double negative? That doesn't come easy. I had to think it through. So loves me some Bowers, not in this matchup or anything, but I just wanted to mention how much I love him as a player, and tight ends that get 13 or 15 targets a week are just the best. With that being said, who do we like at tight end this week, guys? Travis Kelce, T. Kels, Mr. Swift, as they like to call him in the locker room, Mr. Swift.
He's 24% owned now.
Everybody's on Kelce. I mean, come on, bro. That's a lot of ownership. But he also projects the best. He destroyed lineups last week. No one cares. We're going right back to him. BobbyWow, Kelce, your guy?
not my guy. I mean, I'll certainly have exposure, but I don't know that I'll be. Certainly won't be over the chalk. That's for sure.
There's a lot of good tight ends to play. Burns, what does the Shark Lab feel on the tight end position?
Kittle's out now, so Kittle's out. Don't mind McBride this week with Kyler stacks. It's interesting with McBride. Last year he was, targeted a heck of a lot more, and this year it's just not as much, but he could be targeted quite a bit in this game. Cade Otton, he's in a good spot too. Sam Laporta, coming off of an injury, he's fine. The guys that I'm kind of gravitating towards is Jonnu Smith again this week. Was heavy on him last week, and then Hunter Henry. These two guys are pretty good salaried. Don't mind them at all this week at all. So
I love it. BobbyWow, how about you? Do you have a go-to tight end that you're paying up for?
I don't know. I keep going back to Bowers, honestly. The guy has been putting up massive numbers, had a just explosion last week. And it doesn't matter that Minshew's throwing in the football. If there's anybody on Las Vegas that I'm going to be rostering, any pass catcher, it's going to be Brock Bowers. So
he's only 1,000 more than Jacoby Myers, and his average points per game and his outlook is so much better. Yeah,
exactly. And people will not play him because he's the most expensive tight end on the slate. That makes me like him even a little bit more. He's going to be sub 10% ownership. So yeah, I think if I'm paying up, it's probably for Bowers.
Okay, I like that. I think a few of these pay up options are acceptable. Burns, sure. You mentioned McBride. Sure, why not in that game? I don't want to. I talked about Otton before. I really think the Otton's not going to be high owned. Everybody's so excited about Evans that it's just that. Forget any matchup. I don't care about anything else. I just care about that. It's like the week that you think it's going to shift to the other guy, it doesn't. It goes back to the first guy, and that's just like one of those things that I see happening a lot. It's like a pattern that I just want to attack by playing some Cade Otton. But yeah, I don't like paying up for him. The chat is talking about, and correctly, Ferguson is out. Schoonmaker is in. We've had good production from Schoonmaker in the past.
I like Schoonmaker again. Yep. I'll go right back there.
I don't mind it with his backup. What did he do with Rush last week? I think he did okay.
He had 10 targets.
Yeah. I mean, this is bananas, dude. This is our guy. Isn't this the guy?
Definitely your pay down guy for sure.
Yeah. This is the guy. 2,500, 10 targets last week.
He's been priced. He's not even he's not getting ownership right now, which is crazy. I don't think he'll end up being the super chalk either, but we'll see.
Yeah. We need to get DFS.
I'll be all over him.
We have to get DFS up north on this one just to pronounce the name.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. He knows.
I can hear it. I can picture it in my head.
He's where DFS up north is right now? In his backyard.
With 6 feet of snow.
On a skating rink. No, he sets up the skating rink.
Yeah.
Turn on the hose.
He's a hockey coach too, right?
Yeah, he's got, but like up there, you just put the hose on, and then you get a hockey rink in your backyard for the whole winter.
I saw that he just got a Zamboni for the rink in his yard.
Yeah, see, like he has his own Zamboni. Converts to a grass cutter. It's a John Deere Zamboni. Cuts the grass in the off season. They got to take the attachment, the Zamboni off. Put the grass cutter. Do you guys mow your own lawns?
Yes, and I do push mower.
Chat, do you guys mow your own lawns? And if you do, are you sitting on like a on a John Deere, a ride-on, your zero-turn radius? My neighbor says, what? You know what I'm talking about? Or are you pushing one? BobbyWow, you're pushing a lawnmower?
Yeah, I've had the same lawnmower for 10 years. 12 years.
Burns,
nice
you mow your lawn? Burns doesn't mow his own lawn.
I don't. I got I got too big of a lawn. It's like 5 acres.
You got a 5 acre. Well, I mean, listen, go out there for 3 hours, mow that shit. What's the problem?
That's why I don't. I just pay somebody like $60 to do it.
You got a service?
A week.
Mowing the lawn is like one of the most unknown pleasures of manhood. It's just like, it's your space, man. I can't explain it. It's literally like therapy. You put some headphones in and you're doing your thing.
Can I tell you guys a secret?
Truly fun.
I've never even touched a lawnmower. Like my whole life, I've never even pushed. I have no experience to the point where I've never pushed I don't have one. I've never pushed one. I've never been around a lawn. I don't even know anybody who's like, it is so unheard of where I live. And I come from Brooklyn, which of course there was no such thing as lawn. And then even where I'm at now, there's no one. I don't have a lawn. I wouldn't know there's people that come and do that stuff.
Try
but
it.
I know
if you ever have the chance to borrow someone's lawnmower, you got to try it. It is zen. It is like you're in your own world, man. It's beautiful.
There has never been a truer statement than what Dick's Insider just put in the chat. It is so true. I've never handled. I think I listen. I don't know what to tell you. A gasoline
crazy. You've never touched what?
Never. I got one of my proudest moments was when we lost the power and I went outside and I was able to get my generator to turn on. Like I'm yanking the string and it's like, holy shit, it actually worked. And it took me a while. It was like, it wasn't an easy startup either. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong here.
Did you not prime it?
I don't know. See, that's what I'm talking about. What are you talking about? Prime? I don't know shit about priming anything. No, it's a propane one. I don't know if it needs to be primed. I got propane feeding that thing. It was a miracle when that thing turned on. Though. I was like, yes, I achieved ultimate glory. I have turned on the fucking generator. It was ultimate glory.
See, I got 5 acres, but this lawn in the back of my house is like a straight up and down hill. So I actually have to mow it because the guys that I have mow my lawn won't do it.
You need different people.
So I just like, yeah, whatever, man.
No, change those people.
But I mean, that's the only part that I mow. So
I love the idea. By the way, if I was younger and it was in an air, I would start a lawn mowing business. But within a few months, I would have other people doing the mowing.
There's guys
I would just be running the business.
There's guys in my area. They got a monopoly. Like you can't get into that business.
Here around me,
monopoly, man.
People switch lawn companies constantly. You get annoyed with one, you go to another. There's no monopolies.
Unbelievable.
Everybody gets annoyed with them.
No, I still remember the day my dad, got me the steel-toed boots and sent me on my way outside to mow the lawn. It's like a rite of passage. It was like a passing of the torch.
I wasn't saying
those steel-toe boots on, and I just went.
I'm just saying, I come from Brooklyn. All right, there was no lawn. There was nothing to mow. I don't have that experience growing up. Listen, we all come from different places. I bet you guys didn't fucking. I'm trying to think of a Brooklyn thing that other people wouldn't have done. I got nothing. I'll have to tell you. I got nothing. Like you guys didn't run away from gang members at the park, did you? When you were a little kid, because that's what I had to do. Like,
I don't know, man.
Get out of here.
The area of New York that I grew up in, there were Bloods and Crips everywhere, dude.
Yeah, we had to run. We had to run from the park when the big kids showed up. Like, oh shit, the gang members. So we had a different thing that we had to do.
Oh, shoveling snow! I can't wait. Oh my gosh, guys. Okay, sorry.
This is dude. You gotta have a snowblower, right?
No, I have people come shovel the snow. Come on, guys.
No, see, I don't have
breaking my back shoveling snow. Have you seen me? My hands are like the hands of a baby. They've never done a day's work. They're smooth like a newborn baby. Only typing.
Oh shit!
I haven't done a hard day's work yet.
Got to grab a shovel and shovel that shit. Then
I get tired after like 5 minutes. You don't even know. I'm like, what am I gonna have a heart attack out there? I can't. My stamina is not there for shoveling the snow.
All right, let's continue. Pop a cigarette. You'd be all right.
Yeah, the hands are like a baby's butt, soft, no calluses, nothing. All right, tight end position, NFL Week 12. So we talked about the upper group, right? We talked about the lawn mowing as well. Laporta. What about Laporta? Sammy La.
Like him.
Props like him too.
Yeah. I think we got to play some Laporta at his price. I think Hawkinson is acceptable. Janu Smith had a monster game. There's a lot of. I think all of these guys are kind of fine. Do you have a preference? I think they're all kind of fine. Like Laporta, okay. Hawkinson, fine. Yeah, I'm good with that. Janu, he popped last week for a monster score. Hunter
props.
Henry seems to be the top guy. Was it 2 weeks ago for Janu or last week?
He said it a couple
last
times.
week.
Yeah, he went crazy.
He popped at 31 DraftKings points last week.
Yes.
There's something interesting here with Tucker Kraft, though. His props projection is definitely better than the DS projection. That's interesting.
Oh, I like that. I always like that. By the way, yeah, good subtle mention of the tool on the DFS Army research station. I should pop it open, but we have prop-based projections next to our projections. The prop-based projections they're always a little lower for some reason, but the prop-based projections are the most accurate. These are bettable props, and we take them, we turn them into numbers, we combine it all into a projection. So actually, you can see it right here on the screen. And yeah, there you go. The prop, whoa. And
Yeah.
Zach Ertz.
You're looking at ceiling Geek.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait a second here. What? That is way too much.
It is still higher.
Oh, it's just a smidge above. So the prop here is 9 versus 8. Yeah, I mean, it definitely likes Kraft, let's say, a lot more than Ertz for the same price.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There you go. So, yeah, they're usually lower than the Army projection, but this one is a little higher. So, yeah, we're gonna smash these.
But I mean, 0.6 of a point higher. People are like, well, it's only 0.6 of a point. That's kind of how you can determine whether or not you should have ownership in that player versus another player in the same salary range.
Yeah, it's also, if you look at the prop-based projection, it's usually lower than ours. So the fact that it's above it is actually quite an interesting phenomenon. Like, it's almost, if you look at them, they're almost always lower because we don't factor bonuses in there. I haven't figured out how to factor the possibility of a 100-yard bonus in that number as of yet. So it stays out of it. But, on that note, if anybody's a data scientist, if you're a data scientist and you're watching this, DM me. I have some need for data science help. Yeah, they're all kind of, do you guys have a preference here in this group? They're all kind of neutral for me. I like them all. Fine. I think I'm going to end up just playing Schoonmaker in every lineup, to be honest.
Yeah,
Schoonmaker's going to get a core. Schoonmaker's going to be a core play.
Yeah, I agree with that assessment. I think he should be. He's min price.
Yeah, and he got 10 targets last week. That's all I need to know. Burns, core play, Schoonmaker.
I mean, if you put a global max, he's going to hit that global max. So whatever you put as your global max is is where he's going to be because he's 2,500, and he's now the highest point per dollar guy at the tight end position. So why not, right?
He's not quite. Oh yeah, wait a minute. You know what? His props projection, again, another one above the ceiling, but he's not the top, but he'll show up a ton.
It's because Ferguson hasn't been officially ruled out yet.
Oh, is that what it is? Yeah, I'm surprised. Well, no,
or maybe he was just ruled out recently.
I think this number is fine. You know what? It's not about the QB with the tight end. I like it when it's a backup quarterback because Cooper Rush, these backups always heavily target the tight ends. It's just something that they do. He's right in front of them.
We have the sample size from last week too. We have all, don't have to look that far back.
Yeah, apparently there are no science peeps or data scientists or any of that shit. Just gambleaholics. I knew that already, even when I was asking. I was like,
just take a drive down to NYU. They got, I'm sure they got a couple down there.
I called my kid who goes to a smart kids college and said, go to the fraternity and find kind of the kids that don't seem like the ones that you want to date, right? Ask around and say, who's the dork who's betting all day, right? And building betting models because they're these 18 to 22-year-olds. They're doing that. I was like, find that kid and send him my way. I feel like that was the best place to find a data scientist that wants to work for nothing. I forgot to mention the last part though, but yeah, that was part of it.
Okay. Yep.
Schoonmaker, that's all you need to know at tight end. Now, Burns, you always put us on the best defenses.
I try, man. I try.
Is it the Bears? They're the highest owned.
No. Sorry, Bobby, but no. Not this week. They are very high owned. That's almost fadeable.
I'll tell you what happened when I assessed the tight end, the defenses. So just tell me where I'm going there. I assessed the defenses and like, yeah, I love the Lions. I love the Texans because of Will Levis. I love the Commanders because of Cooper Rush. The Bucks going up against Cutlets. So I really like the pay up options.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're obvious. What are you on this week, Burns?
So this week I am. Let me just pull it up. This week I'm on Denver. I think Denver is in a very good spot. Traveling over to Las Vegas. Detroit is in an incredible spot with Anthony Richardson on the road. Even before this news came out, I was on the Packers defense. Even before the Brock Purdy news came out, I was all over them. I think this is your most viable 2K salary ranged defense this week. I really like them. They've done very well in interceptions. They have double-digit interceptions on the year so far. They get after the quarterback quite well. And now that San Francisco has a backup quarterback in there, this becomes an even more viable defense.
Gosh. It's a smash.
But I think their ownership was incredibly low. But now that Brock Purdy is out, it's going to go way up, and I don't like it. But that's okay. The Finns are also a good defense this week. With Drake May and company coming down into Miami territory. I like them a bit. And then a couple others that I like. Minnesota. I like Minnesota's defense this week. Commanders are in a very good spot at home with Cooper Rush and company coming in. It's almost like Dallas is a shell of themselves.
Not almost. They are.
They are. I was trying to give them a little bit of credit.
Except for Schoonmaker.
Yeah, Scooney's
Scooney's going to smash.
But my top defense is probably Denver, and then Green Bay's trending towards being like the number 2 defense for me now.
I mean, I love all those. I love the Green Bay call. I hadn't thought of it because like it's all new stuff, but that didn't occur to me. But the one you didn't mention, or I don't know if you did or did, but always play the defense that's up against Will Levis.
Yeah,
that's just a rule.
They're on my sheet, Houston.
Yeah.
But I thought you were going to talk about them.
Yeah,
so
no,
for you.
I just want your stuff. BobbyWow, any defenses popping for you?
Yeah, I mean, everyone Burns, he said, is in a good spot. I mean, the Broncos are the highest priced defense on FanDuel, so they're great, but they're not cheap. I am fine with the Bears. You know, I think a lot of that is going to pivot to the Packers, would be my assumption. You know, as we get closer to Sunday, so I'll have plenty of both those two defenses. Those are two of my two favorites on the slate. And again, like Bernie said, even before the news, I like the Packers a lot. And then, you know, two others I'll punt with. The Raiders, willing to give a shot. You know, Bo Nix, been good, but he's still a rookie. Max Crosby's a beast. And the Giants have been good in the secondary, good at generating pressure. And you know, Baker is prone to turnovers as much as anyone else. So I'll have a few shares of them too. But otherwise, I fully agree with Burns.
There we go, guys. I want to give some updates. So next week, of course, is Thanksgiving week. We have to change up our content schedule a little bit to accompany that. There's games on Thursdays, a Friday game. This is games nonstop. So I'm sure we always do a Thanksgiving breakdown, usually on Wednesdays. So we'll have that and we'll focus. We'll be back. I think we'll just do Wednesday and Friday like we normally do. Except instead of a showdown breakdown for Wednesday, we'll change it to a 3-game covered slate to cover the Thanksgiving slate. I love that one. And of course, for DFS Army subscribers, I'll come back and I will do a Domination Station 3-game slate type setup video, probably Wednesday evening for DFS Army subscribers. So you could see how to kind of work the optimizer for a 3-gamer, hopefully without giving away necessarily too much of exposures, but much more technique wise and how to attack various things like chalk and whatnot. So I think we'll do it like that, and then we'll come back on Friday to focus on the Sunday main slate. Hopefully everybody can get together on Friday. It's a big family holiday. It's tricky, but hopefully we can all get together. And for DFS Army subscribers, I will be back tomorrow, Saturday, around 1 for the Players Club, where we'll put together lineups for this week's NFL Week 12 slate, and we'll just kind of stack them up and bring it all together. We'll go over my sheet, so stay tuned for that. Hopefully we'll have BobbyWow as well with the FanDuel corner as well. And Burns has his Shark Lab sheets all available for DFS Army subscribers. Everything we talked about and more, chock full of stats, numbers, and goodness, available on the DFSArmy.com website under the cheat sheets tab. So make sure to check. It's right here. Where is it? Cheat sheets right there. See it right there on the screen. So you can get your sheets, your Dom station, your research station. Get ready for another big week. Talking about swag, yeah, we're picking up more swag here at the house. My wife was just calling me. She's like, we're getting some hats, some Richardson trucker hats. More swag is on the way. A lot of people have been winning lately. I've been sending a lot of swag out.
You know what you got to get? You know what you got to have your wife get? Get the rope ones across the brim. Those are sick.
Is that something that people wear?
Those are sick, yo.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you
if you have like this as the blue, and if you have like a different color, like
where's the rope? Go over here?
Yeah, it goes right from the brim to the crown of the hat. So this part right here.
Really?
Yeah. No, not at the front of the brim, but at the back.
Oh yeah, I've seen those. Is that a cool hat now? Is that like in? Is that something that people are wearing?
Man, there you go.
The kids
there you
are
go.
the Gen Zers wearing those?
Yeah.
What are the kids wearing? Last time I tried to get a cool hat, it's the Bobby hat, the one that BobbyWow is wearing, the flat brim one. And then it turned out it squeezed my brain and gave me a headache, so I had to stop wearing it.
Yep.
Does it do that to you?
Toughing it out. Yeah, I got 4 Advil right next to me ready to pop, and I'm going to break this thing off.
Is it a brain squeezer for you too?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
yes.
It shrunk the circumference of my head for sure.
Oh my goodness, yeah. It's not you. It's not even your head. They're all like that. Those flat brim ones just are brain squeezers. I can't wear this. It gives me a headache. And that was the end.
Order them like a size bigger than what you normally wear.
We didn't even get them in a size. What do you think? I can size them out for everybody? Like, what are we? Fucking
I'm just
Foot
saying.
Locker over here. I'm just a guy ordering swag from a freaking swag man. I was like, oh, you want a size 18? Let me go through my inventory. We're not selling these commercially. All right. Saying. Anyway, that'll do it for this one. That'll do it for the breakdown, everybody. Hopefully, good luck this week. We want to see those DFS Army avatars in first place. Once again, I saw one last night taking down the tournament. As always, let's get him up there, top of the tournaments, guys. We will be in the Discord answering questions, talking through the slates, having fun, and tilting 5 minutes into the beginning of the Sunday 1:00 games. It only takes us 10 minutes, and we will start our tiltings and complainings. So you got to be there for it. Sign up at DFS Army, code Geek. 10% off. We've got, I'm sure, something big coming for Black Friday, so look out for that as well. If you have been waiting, it's only a few more days, and I'm sure we'll have something nice for new people to get you in there. Take care, everybody.